Welcome back to John, your daily sports dump, where we plunge into the sports world. We are a sports pipeline for breaking news, game recaps, and the hottest take in the sports industry. So while you're taking care of business, let us flush out the details and fill you in on what's happening. So take a seat, get comfortable, and make sure you have plenty of TP. It's time to explode the commode. I'm your host, John, and today we'll be talking about some mid-major teams that I think you guys need to be looking out for coming up on Selection Sunday. Then we're going to do some of my reactions / predictions for NFL free agency. As I'm recording this, free agency is already underway, so there are some moves that have already happened. And then finally, I'm going to put a team that on your guys' radar in MLB that I think is not getting enough attention. So that's all coming up on this episode of John. But first, I want to talk about mid-major teams, and specifically, I'm focusing on two teams, Drake and UC San Diego. So, as you guys know, I go to Bradley University, so I watched Drake dismantle Bradley yesterday. It was a rough game, but I mean, Drake, we knew. I mean, I'm a Bradley fan, and I thought we were going to win because we've beaten them once, but they were dominant, and they showed. You know, they're ranked 56th in net, which is very good for a mid-major team alone. They have the most wins in college basketball, so that also doesn't help us because it builds their case more for them to get an at-large. Just I'm talking in the sense of Bradley, where like Bradley had to win that in order to qualify. Drake, they might have been able to get an at-large because of how many wins they have, because of how dominant they are. And I'm going to get into it right here. You know, they have they ranked 31st in defensive efficiency. If you're watching that Bradley game, you could see they were all in our grill defensively. We could not move the ball at all. They were double teaming. It was a lot of, you know, we were going down to the last second to get a shot up. And if I'm a power 4 team, I don't want to see them, considering how dominant they are. You know, 31st in defensive efficiency. They allow the second fewest points per game in college basketball. And then on the offensive side, they have Bennett Skirts. And if you guys don't know him by now, you have not watched college basketball. This dude leads the Valley in points per game. I think he's averaging 19.6 points per game. And the thing about him and the difference between him and some other stars is he doesn't not play. He plays. He plays basically 39 minutes a game, which is the whole game, basically. So if Drake goes on a run, which I would not be shocked, because they have some big wins. They have a win over Vandy, who's going to be in the tournament. They have a win over Kansas State, who is a power 4 team who's contending. I mean, they're not in the tournament right now, but they could win the Big 12 tournament. You never know. So they have those 2 quad 1 wins that are very big for me. And then finally, my second team that I want to talk about that I know for a fact is not getting any love in the national sort of spotlight is UC San Diego. I think they're scarier than Drake, and the net rankings back it up. They're 35th in net, which for a mid-major is absolutely insane. That's like the best mid-major. That's an elite group of teams. But the thing is people will look, oh, they only have 28 wins compared to Drake's 30. That doesn't mean anything. This team is disgusting. They're led by 2 key players, Aniwa Tate Jones, who's I like to kind of refer him to the Max Abrams of Oral Roberts. He's their scorer. He's their bucket getter. He's that kind of guy that elevates them to score and compete with these other teams. He's averaging 20 points a game. And then there's Tyler McGee. He's also averaging 17. But the big thing that I want to focus on is defense as well. They rank top 10 in the country in defensive points per game allowed, only allowing 63 points per game. And the big thing with them is they lead the nation in steals, and they're a very small team, so they're not big on the boards. They're not going to out-rebound you. So steals are a big part of their game and a big way of how they score and win games. And they also have some big wins too. I want to highlight especially Utah State. They're going to be a tournament team, and they beat them. And another team that's on the tippy kind of toes right now. They're on the border. San Diego State, they lost, but they played well. They are a great team, and the fact I think the Big West could be a 2-conference bid league with the winner, and I think either UC San Diego or UC Irvine, depending on how far they go, obviously, in the Big West tournament. But I think if they're both in the final, you could see 2 Big West teams, and these 2 Big West teams are scary. But I really do think UC San Diego can make, make a run. I think honestly. Also, it's their first year of tournament eligibility because this is their 5th year as a D1 program. So it's also a great storyline. Just they're the first. This is the first year being eligible for the tournament, and they make it, or they look like they're going to make it. And then just one more thing about their defense. They rank 6th in the defensive efficiency, so they're crazy efficient with defense. So this team and Drake, I would not be shocked if these teams make it to the Sweet 16 and potentially farther, just with how dominant they both have been on the defensive side specifically. But now I kind of want to talk about some free agency stuff in the NFL. I feel like we have to talk about the Seahawks. I think they're finally starting to get through that stage of mediocrity, and they're starting to tank. I think they're tanking for Arch Manning. You trade Geno, you trade DK, you release Tyler Lockett. That's kind of your core group. You still have Jackson Smith and Jigba, but you don't have, your core group of guys that you use to, make your not playoff runs, but borderline playoffs where you were kind of always in the middle. You couldn't get a great draft pick, and now I think they're finally going all in and tanking. And I think for the Seahawks, this is great, but for the Seahawks fans, obviously you don't want to see them trade DK. You don't want them to do all this. Geno, I felt like was right. He's 34. He's starting to get up in age. You're not going to get much for him. So why don't you get something for him while you can at least? And then for the Steelers, I like it. I really do, and I'll talk about the Steelers later. But I do like the addition. I think it's a great addition. I think DK adds another sort of deep threat, big receiver, and he fits the Steelers mold. I feel like physical, which is what the Steelers are. So I just think it's been so far a great offseason for the Steelers. And I know we're not even a day in. We're in 2 hours into free agency. So it's a great offseason already. But another team that I think is at the best offseason, and the draft hasn't even started, is the Bears. So writing this script and my notes down, I wanted them to, sign Drew Dahlman. Spoke that into existence because I just signed him this morning. And then Caleb had 64 sacks last season. They've already addressed centers and guards, and we have Darnell Wright. And you do have Braxton Jones, who's okay, but I really want them to sign Mekhi Becton. You kind of saw, his beginning of the career on the Jets was not great, and we saw with the Eagles something ignited, and he flipped a switch and he became one of the best linemen in the NFL, offensive linemen. So I think that he would be kind of the icing on the cake. But I also think for the draft, this means they might draft Genty. And I know that's not a hot take or a great thing with the Bears community, but I think if they do sign a tackle in the free agency period, there's a good chance Genty will be a Bear. I really believe that. And I know I've kind of focused on the offensive line, but now we got to focus on defensive line. I think they signed Josh Sweat. I think we have the Sweats on our team coming off the edge, and this team is a very scary team. Now, their schedule is very scary and very hard, but I do think they have a good, legitimate chance to compete next season. And then finally, the NFL, another team that I want to talk about is the Steelers. I mean, I talked to them about them already. I think the icing on the cake for them, you signed Sam Darnold. You think about this. Sam Darnold comes into a very similar situation if he comes to Pittsburgh. He has 2 star receivers, Addison and Jefferson. Here, Pickens and Metcalf. Now, they're not as good, but they're still star receivers. Then he has a good tight end, which is what he had in Minnesota. He has a great run game. If they bring in Najee Harris, or I think what they could do is sign J.K. Dobbins too. Then you have Warren and Dobbins, or Warrens and Harris. Then you have a great defense. Now, the only question mark, their offensive line isn't crazy great, but I really do think a Sam Darnold signing would be a great signing for this team, and I think it would be a great reason. I think they win the offseason with that too. You signed the best quarterback on the market, a dude who proved last year that he was worth the 4th overall pick in the draft, and you bring him into a great situation. Now, what will Arthur Smith do is a real question, because will Arthur Smith let him throw the ball now that he's got weapons? So I don't know. I want to see what Arthur Smith does with him, but overall, I think this team is very exciting. I think they're a quarterback away, and I feel like that's what we've been saying with the Steelers for however long now. But I think, if you sign Darnold, this is a great offseason for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And my final topic of the day, MLB team that I think you guys need to focus on, Texas Rangers. Now, they were 78-84 last year after just winning the World Series. And I think that people aren't giving them the respect that they deserve because of, how bad they played last year. They were injured, it was all kind of messed up and stuff. But their lineup, I was looking at their lineup when I was writing this stuff together. Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, Jock Peterson, Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, Evan Carter, Jake Berger, Jonah Heim. Where's a weakness? Jock Peterson destroys righties. Corey Seager, we know what Corey Seager can do. Marcus Semien's going to get on base, and we know what he brings to the table defensively. Adolis Garcia, if he gets healthy, this team will be scary. He was not healthy last year. Josh Young, exciting young prospect. Evan Carter, exciting young prospect. Wyatt Langford, ended the season amazing. Also an exciting young prospect. And the thing that I want to focus on with this team has a dude hitting in their 8th spot, or projected 8th spot, who can give you 30 home runs. If you are a team who has a person who's hitting in your lineup 7th or 8th and is projected to can give you 30 home runs, you should be a successful team. And we know with them that they're always going to have a great lineup. I mean, that was the reason why they won the World Series. They had great hitting, and their bullpen did their job, and their starters did their job. But that's the thing with them this year. Obviously, it's the pitching, and I think their top 3 is a good 3 when obviously the big one, DeGrom, is healthy. You have DeGrom, Evaldi, and John Gray. And it all depends on the health of Jacob DeGrom. Because when this staff is healthy, I think it's a middle-of-the-pack staff. Because obviously you have Jack Leiter, you have Kumar Rocker. These guys were, you don't really know. Leiter, when he came up, he got rocked. So it's iffy because they also lost Kirby Yates in the bullpen, who had a crazy great year last year. So they traded Nathaniel Lowe for Robert Garcia, who's another okay reliever. He's not like a crazy they don't have that sort of X factor reliever in their bullpen. That's the only thing for them that really scares me, is their bullpen. But other than that, if this team stays healthy, specifically Jacob DeGrom, you guys need to look out for them, because I really do think they could compete and win for the another World Series. But that's all I have for today. So thanks for tuning into this week's episode of The John, your daily sports dump, where we talked about mid-major teams that you need to look out for March Madness, some of my reactions to the NFL free agency and predictions in NFL free agency. Then finally, why I think the Texas Rangers could be a team to look out for in this coming season of MLB. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for sports updates and hot takes in real time. And if you're looking for even more sports talk, check out the Sports Syllabus Show, where me and my partner tackle the hottest topics in sports. It's a two-ply discussion, strong, reliable, and always ready to clean up the messiest takes. Join me next time on The John, your daily sports dump, where I've got a head poking out with a fresh sports info. Until then, keep your game face on and stay regular. This is The John, signing off.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.